Hello, friends and fellow bibliophiles. Welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. Today, I am going down memory lane back to the 70s and 80s when I was a kid because I'm doing the old school April tag. So come along with me and see what I got up to back in the day. Old School April was created by the awesome Kelsi at Slime and Slashers, and in celebration of this epic nostalgia-thon, Kristine at C. Crits Read created an original Old School April tag. Kristine is wonderful, and she's one of the many co-hosts along with myself for Old School April. I have included a link to her channel as well as all of the other fantastic co-hosts in the description box below. So please take a moment to check all of their channels out. This tag is so much fun because it gives you an opportunity to go back and think about your childhood and the activities that you got up to back in the day. So let's go ahead and get started. The first category is Reading Rainbow, and the first question is, what book, author, or series got you into reading? I cannot for the life of me remember when I started reading, but I do have fond memories at a young age of reading with my Nana, my grandmother, and she was responsible for giving me my early books. And one of my favorite childhood books is Anatole over Paris by Eve Titus. Love this story. It's about a little mouse and all his adventures in Paris. And I'm so grateful that I have this copy still. Some of my other books, I don't know what happened to them, which makes me very sad. But I do remember gravitating as a child towards books that had quirky characters, that had animals as characters. One of my favorite series I remember reading as a kid was the Little Bear series. So many sweet stories about Little Bear with his mom. And then also I enjoyed reading mysteries. I liked anything that had a mystery element in it. The second question is, what author or book got you into your current favorite genre? Well, as many of you know, I love a variety of genres, but probably my top three are thrillers, mystery, and horror. As far as thrillers, I didn't really read any when I was younger, as far as I can remember. I would have to say I discovered thrillers more as an adult, early 20s. But with mystery, I used to read Nancy Drew in middle school. And then also in my high school years, I discovered Mary Higgins Clark. I still read Mary Higgins Clark today, as well as Nancy Drew. And then with horror, I started probably late middle grade, junior high with Lois Duncan, discovered Edgar Allan Poe and Stephen King in the 8th grade. And then later in high school, I discovered V.C. Andrews and the Flowers in the Attic series. The second category is Mixtape. And the first question is, what was the first concert you ever went to? Well, I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to attending concerts because my parents wouldn't let me go to them, which is very, very sad because I love going to concerts. So I want to say my first concert was probably my senior year or right after I graduated from high school. It was back in like either 1987 or 1988. I went with a group of friends of mine to New Orleans and we saw the Producers on the Riverboat President. It was so much fun. And what is funny is that my husband and I just recently saw them back in July of 2023. They came to Southport Hall. It was so nostalgic seeing them after so long. I think it was in celebration of their 40th anniversary of one of their albums, but we really had a great time. I mean, they're older, but they still sound really great. And that is always a fun memory because, of course, it was my very first concert. The second question is, what band or artist do you love but never got to see live? David Bowie. I absolutely love his music, and I think he would have put on a phenomenal concert. Category number 3 is, I always feel like somebody's watching me. And the first question is, what was your favorite cartoon while growing up? ScoobyDoo. I absolutely adored ScoobyDoo as a kid. I wanted to be a part of the Scooby Gang. I wanted to be exploring all of those hidden passageways. And guess what? I still love ScoobyDoo today. The second question is to name a TV show or movie that is tied to a good memory. And while I have several fond memories of watching TV shows and movies with family and friends, my favorite is watching Monday Night Football with my dad, because we sort of made a game out of it. We would bet on the football games. We would start the season, not quite sure how we picked our teams for that first game, but whoever won the football game, that person got to choose their team for the following week. And what you got also was a candy bar. So you had a 50-50 chance of getting a candy bar that week, because if you were the winner, the loser had to buy it for you. And I remember having to cross Jefferson Highway. We lived close to Jefferson Highway, and going to a little store and buying my dad his candy bar and bringing it back over. But I also got quite a few candy bars for myself over the years as well. But it was just so much fun. And we did have one rule, and that was if the Saints or the Steelers played, we automatically got our teams. My dad always got the New Orleans Saints. I always got the Pittsburgh Steelers, because yes, I had a crush on Terry Bradshaw back in the day. I mean, the Steelers were pretty hot back then. I mean, they were winning Super Bowls pretty frequently. The third question is, name a movie from childhood that you still love today. That would have to be The Breakfast Club. I absolutely love The Breakfast Club. It encompasses all things 80s to me, and it's one of those movies that I can just watch over and over again. It's like a comfort movie, and it never gets old. The fourth question is, name your first TV or movie crush. I don't really know who my first was. I mean, I had quite a few, but I'm going to go with Michael J. Fox. I always thought he was sweet and cute. The next category is Gotta Catch 'Em All. And the question is, what was a toy you were obsessed with or collected as a kid? For me, that was my Barbie dolls and my paper dolls. I absolutely love playing with my Barbie dolls and paper dolls, dressing them up, putting them in all kinds of situations and scenarios where they interacted. It was just so much fun. And I still have a felt doll. It's like a paper doll, but it's made out of felt. She's still in great condition. I had gotten this as a gift from my godmother many, many, many moons ago, and just love the fact that I still have it, because I have very few of my toys from my childhood. The next category is PacMan Fever, and the question is, name a board game or video game you associate with your childhood. And for me, board games, absolutely loved Payday. If I could not get a friend or my sister or my parents to play with me, I would actually play by myself. I would just be multiple people on the board. Love the game very, very much. There's nothing really to it. It was like paying rent and having a job. I guess it was like pre-life perhaps, but I don't know. I still own the game. I don't have the box it goes into, but I have all the pieces and still love it. I also loved playing Cootie, where you build a bug, you roll the dice, and each number on the dice is a body part, and whoever can build their bug first wins. Still love that game. Played it with both of my boys growing up, and in fact, I even played it with Kelsi last year for Old School April. As far as video games, I loved playing Pac-Man on my Atari. I even played so much that I flipped the board, then I got sick of it. Played in Frogger on Intellivision. My friend Shelly had Intellivision. We used to play Frogger all the time. And then as far as arcade games, my favorite was Centipede. Absolutely loved Centipede. Also loved Asteroids as well. But Centipede, man, nothing was better than trying to shoot that centipede before it got to the bottom and destroyed you. And I loved getting on the leaderboard. I mean, that was really the best thing about going to the arcade, was seeing your name up there, your initials for your name. So much fun. The next category is She's Got the Look. Name a clothing or trend that was popular when you were a kid. Well, I was never really a fashionista. I'm still not a fashionista, and I wasn't really into all of the trends, but a couple of items that I did own that kind of remind me of that time period in the 80s were the jellies, which were plastic shoes. I don't know why we like those so much, but I did own a pair. And then also the baseball shirts, you know, those 3/4 sleeve t-shirts where you had like solid colors on the sleeves, but it was white on the front, and they were either with a band, like usually a heavy metal band. My dad airbrushed, and sometimes he would airbrush things on my shirts for me. And then also button-down shirts, the ones that had the little buttons on the collars. I went through a stage where I wore those. And also hairstyles. I did have a rat tail at one time. That was popular. And I can't remember if I was in 9th grade or 10th grade, but my dad allowed it. My mom absolutely hated it, but I thought it was cool. I had short hair, and then I had a rat tail. It was just a long piece of hair, and I would braid it and put a little bow in it. I mean, now I would be like thinking I was so ridiculous if I saw anybody with that, but back in the day, I thought I was cool. And finally, I want candy. Name a childhood snack or candy you wish were still made. Fortunately for me, all of my childhood snacks and candy are still made today, so I don't have to wish for them to be made. I adored snowballs back in the day and pretty much got one every day during the summer. My sister and friends and I in the neighborhood would all go run across Jefferson Highway to the snowball stand and get our daily snowball. My favorite flavor is cherry. I haven't had a snowball in a couple of years, so I probably should get one before the end of April. Also, I loved going to our local park and getting Now and Later sour apple flavor and lemon heads from the concession stand. And then in high school, I ate a lot of Twizzlers when I would study, especially during exams. And then last but not least, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Absolutely adore them. And I have been treating myself quite a bit during Old School April. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed answering the questions for the Old School April tag. Thanks, Kristine, for creating it. Everyone is welcome to do the Old School April tag. It is really a lot of fun to revisit your childhood and think about the things that really added a lot of joy to you as a kid. And you don't have to participate in Old School April in order to do the tag. Everyone is welcome. But I would really love to hear your answers. Alex at Frank Fiction, Emma at Emma Bennett, Margaret at Margaret Bernard, and Laura at Laura Reads, Fellow Snake. I think it would be a lot of fun to hear your answers, and please tag me if you decide to do it. But again, no pressure. I don't want anybody to feel any pressure because it's supposed to be for fun. As always, I appreciate you stopping by and appreciate you watching. And until our paths cross again, stay amazing and be adventurous.